referring to one of them.
Yeah, I'm gonna accidentally say one of your names.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I already said that.
Like it's in my notes, Alistair and Dr. Otto Octavius, but still, it's gonna drop, and I'm sorry.
I have just like I was gonna say one question. Is there like tissues and trash cans?
I guess it's a good thing we're not going live then, huh?
There's a trash can, and then
I can move this up.
This is a.
if you there's in the bathroom right there. Grab some. No, just like right to the right. That door right there. There should be some.
Yeah, it's just like I still have like a little bit left over with my nose.
I don't mean to sound like a hipster from like San Francisco, but I just realized I'm gonna go like a whole hour without vaping.
Yeah, I mean, and you're gonna go a whole hour without smoking.
If we can vape,
You guys are more than welcome to vape.
I don't mind. I don't care.
Smoke, but yeah, you can rip the vape.
All right.
Sorry, Otto. You know you like to
My bad. I was
kill
under
your
the
lungs with the
assumption-
traditional
I'm gonna be
ones.
ripping the vape back here.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
What flavor you smoke?
This is a Delta 8.
Delta 8?
I like it. I don't know. I'm crazy.
Man, I wish.
Hey man, Stoner's Paradise. Stoner's Paradise. Ain't nobody here against it.
Wait. Who almost said it? Hey, Otto. Why don't you vape, dude?
there we go. Hold up.
He likes the warmth of the...
Okay, he does vape. Why don't you have your own vape pen thing?
He doesn't have his own vape because he's broke, because he has children.
Okay, I mean, makes sense.
So that's the
Oh my god!
I love that.
That is beautiful.
Is that specifically for smoking?
Huh?
Is that specifically for like smoking? That's so funny.
Dude, hold on. Wyatt.
Yeah, you can smoke.
Wyatt, can we please use your vape for like a split second?
Oh, that's hilarious. Oh my god. Yeah.
Hold on. I at least want one camera shot of this puppet ripping the fucking vape.
First of all, how much did it cost in order for you to do that? Because that's great.
Oh, this?
Yeah, how much did it cost?
It was just like $10. This was like fishing.
Oh, you did that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. 10 for.
Yeah, he's creative as fuck.
For like $30, and then the rest of the shit I did myself.
All right, 10 for. That's cool. Yeah, go ahead and do it. Puff, puff, give. Puff, puff, give.
Oh god!
Don't kill yourself when you do it.
His lip was quivering.
That's so funny.
I like that.
Hey, this is good content. That's going to go viral. I appreciate that. All right, this is the first time for me. Oh, that's great.
Are we recording?
Okay, yeah. So, hey guys, welcome to the Felt Kingdoms podcast. My name is Ari. I'm the host. I'm here with a couple of guests, Caleb, Alistair, and Dr. Otto Octavius. That's the one you just saw smoking, the blue puppet. So today we're just gonna vibe out, and we're gonna talk about a couple of things that we already agreed on to discuss. We might have some tangents, we may not. We only have an hour, so we got to make sure that we stay as focused as possible. But we got a lot of topics today, so we may not even get to some of them. So we don't want to do the first topic because that's a little bit more, emotionally deep, and we want to start on a light subject. So let's talk about the education system, Otto. This is the one you decided to do. So you want to critique the education system, identifying systemic flaws within educational frameworks. Go ahead and you can go ahead and piggyback off that one.
Okay, so basically, my idea of the education system, it's definitely flawed. Because as long as you know basic reading, writing, and math, maybe a little bit of geometry, that's really all you're going to end up being. That's really all that's going to be useful in life. Algebra, calculus. I've asked multiple adults in the work industry, and they haven't used any of that. So I think there should be a stop there, and then start teaching kids how to save, how to do taxes, things that will actually utilize in life.
So do you think? Sorry. Do you think? So let's just say with education system, are you just talking about public school systems, or are you talking about education in general, like university?
I'd say like in public school systems. Like if you want to go into calculus, things of that demeanor, that should either be like an elective or a college requirement.
Because I'm gonna be honest with you, when I went to college, like I didn't need math. Like, what do I need math for to read the Bible? That makes no sense whatsoever.
Exactly. So it's like if your majoring isn't something that's math intensive, it shouldn't be a requirement. Like when I went to college, I was going for more media-esque field. Why do I need to learn AP calculus to do this? All you're doing is holding a camera. There isn't any equations in doing that as far as video editing and everything of that nature is concerned. There isn't any E equals MC squared type of thing that you need to learn.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Even when, like, I think one of the things that public school systems just like get wrong so much is, and I'm just piggybacking off of what you just said, is literally the unnecessary amount of things that you have to learn in order to graduate. It's just like, you literally only need basic math. I don't need to know algebra. I really don't. Like, especially if you're just going to go into the workforce as soon as you graduate. Why do you need most of that stuff? That makes no sense to me at all. Go ahead.
If I can actually, I slightly disagree because I will not lie to you guys. I have had to use a little bit of the things that I've learned, especially in like English, you know, the whole Shakespearean thing. Like we don't need that, right? Well, I've had to use that to decode some of the language because I have discovered that people who speak English don't speak English. Hear me out for a minute. I've worked at you know, basic like little chain stores, you know, Dollar General, Family Dollar, stuff like that. And I will say some of the things that I have heard spoken by people who speak the English language. Like, have you ever heard someone just go off on a tangent about bleach and you just can't understand a word they're saying?
No.
It's probably a good thing. Don't go into customer service.
I never will, for sure. I'll take you up on that.
Yeah, no, because I promise you, I'm just sitting here like.
So how does, like, okay, you're talking about bleach. How does that
apply, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to connect the two. I don't see.
He's talking about like going on a tangent. So it's like someone was just like talking about bleach, going off on it, going like on a long thing instead of just like, you know.
Yeah.
So he's like, that's kind of the.
And I'll be upfront. I didn't understand a word they said, except for the term buffoonery. I'm not kidding. They said that it was buffoonery.
Was this guy like a chemics physics or something?
I don't even know. I don't know. And another thing is I've had to use calculus before because I've had to use it to calculate the stupidity of some of my former coworkers.
All right. I'm not gonna even ask how you even calculate that. As a segue, because let's just do some segues. We're already talking about education, right? So let's talk about religion's role in education. So, Otto, so you do. I'm pretty sure that you don't believe in the idea of do you, okay, first off, let's just say, do you agree with having the Pledge of Allegiance in public schools?
To some degree, yes. My thing about it is that, all right, when they added the term under God in the Pledge of Allegiance, that was something that was an additive. It wasn't the original. And then there was this whole controversy that, well, now that under God has been put in there, it's going to be looked at as a prayer. And everybody has different backgrounds when it comes to theistic affiliations, for lack of better terms. And for those who are proud of where they're from and want to proclaim that they're proud of being an American, I don't believe that you should have to be religious per se in order to feel that you need to say the Pledge of Allegiance. I mean, it just goes down to the First Amendment: freedom of speech, freedom of religion, peaceably assemble, pursuit of happiness, unless they change that part again.
Well, I think one of the things, because I agree with you. I don't like. There was actually one time where my younger brother, he actually he got in trouble because he went to Standby Middle School in Arbondale. He actually got in trouble for refusing to stand up and say the Pledge of Allegiance. It wasn't in a religious way at all. He was just like, I just don't want to do it, you know. But it sounds like to me that what you're. Let me see it. Let me see if you agree with this. I don't want to straw man what anything you say. So, like, do you believe, like, at least on a governmental level, that there should be some kind of agnosticism about religion? And because it seems to me like when a lot of people, because I am a libertarian, like politically speaking, it seems to me that a lot of people tend to delineate between theology and secular philosophy or something like that. And so theology is left in the domain of theology. And whenever you start looking at politics, that's a completely different realm. But the thing about me is that because I'm a theist, right? I fundamentally believe that everything you do is necessarily theology. So whether that is your politics, whether that is based in like how you feel you should raise your kids, in education, like all of that stuff does not preclude theology. All of it is encapsulated within theology per se. So whether it's like politics specifically, it's like, well, how should we function in society? How should we run society? Well, for me at least, all of that stuff is fundamentally predicated on certain theological predicates that you bring to the table. So I know you're an atheist, Otto. So how do you so my basic claim is politics, whether it's on a national or more state level, how basically do you come to certain things about like value systems? How do you derive that kind of stuff from your worldview?
From my worldview, I believe that government should just stay out of religion altogether. I mean, and it still fundamentally is. I mean, why can't we buy booze on Sundays? You know, and where it's a double-edged sword, I think that some people, where it comes to religious schools, are a lot more expensive, but they aren't paying taxes. Churches don't have to pay taxes. So, in that sense, I think, yeah, stepping away from that aspect of it, they did right and they did wrong at the same time. And these religious schools, for those who do want to express their religious beliefs in schools strongly and make that basically their standards in their education system, shouldn't be that expensive simply because of the fact that they don't pay taxes. From a political standpoint, I don't believe that religious affiliation should be mentioned in running for government. Like Kennedy, for instance. They were all skeptical of him running for president simply because he was a Catholic.
Why not? I mean, like I genuinely believe that your religion can influence the way that you engage in politics. So it's like, if like it's a very reasonable thing to think that, hey, like we've never had an atheist president. And the reason why we probably never had an atheist president is because most people are theists. Most people do believe in some kind of religious framework, and it's just unappealing to have an atheist as a president. I'm not saying that I would never vote for one. Like if there was somebody that genuinely believed in libertarian principles like self-ownership, private property rights and stuff like that, I could care less whether or not you believe in God. I could care less whether or not you are a Christian. As long as you, but here's the thing, those principles, for me at least, are grounded in a theistic worldview for me. But I don't care whether or not you believe it, like whether or not you believe the grounding principle that I'm establishing. I only care about the principles that you're actually perpetuating in society. So when it comes to like, it's just weird to think like, well, for me at least, like I genuinely believe that you should probably like put out your religious affiliation if you're running for office or something like that, because people vote based off of certain aspects of your identity. If you're a politician, it's like, hey, have we ever had a president that's been elected where he wasn't married? No. So it's like, we could, in principle, that could happen, but I do believe that there's just certain aspects of society that are perfectly fair game when when involving yourself in politics.
True, but all the same, it's more or less that just becomes a game of majority versus minority. We're focusing well too much on the social norm of things when it comes to that aspect. And as long as the societal norms or societal needs, better worded, are met, then this person's background beliefs, where he comes from, his cultural differences or similarities really shouldn't matter. I mean, taking it a step further than that, what, aside from Barack Obama, have you seen a president that was other than white?
Nowhere.
Exactly. So if we're going off of just religious structure or anything of that when it comes to politics, you also have to take in consideration, if we're going that route, then what about the ethnic background? Or, like you said, whether they're married, if they've been divorced, if they ended up going into a situation where they were infidelious in their previous lives and what have you. Maybe they may have been a crack addict.
But the thing I'm saying, I'm not saying that I necessarily agree with taking those particular those particular aspects of people's lives into consideration when you're talking about politics. First of all, I don't vote. But the thing is that there are certain people will do that. Like, people are just going to naturally do that. And for whatever reason, people voted for Barack Obama in 2008 and then they reelected him after that for a second term. For whatever reasons, one aspect of the reason why they voted for him is because he's black. Like, that's one aspect. It's like, we've never had a black president until Barack Obama. I think that's one of the major reasons. You guys can chime in. Like we're just having a conversation here.
No, I just don't like interrupting people.
No, go ahead.
It's just a big habit. I don't like interrupting people. I don't necessarily say about this exactly, but I mean, it's like the same thing where the only reason I think people wanted Hillary was so to have a first female president.
Right.
So that was like the only reason people genuinely would have wanted that. I can't say I was pretty much a teenager, I think, when Obama was president, so I can't have to say a lot about that because I wasn't really keeping up with a lot of the politics at the time.
Right.
But yeah, that was just pretty much. I was just kind of listening
because I think what happens is that like those are you can even deny, like you can even disagree with those aspects of people's I guess not qualities but more so qualifications that people leverage to decide whether or not a politician is worthy of being elected into office. Like, you could have the most outright senile stuff that qualifies a president for you. Like, as long as it doesn't violate the Constitution, like you can say, hey, this guy I don't want to vote for anybody who was born and bases themselves out of California. Like, you can literally say that. Like, you can say, hey, look, if you come from California and you're running for president, I will not vote for you. So it's just like, those criteria are like situated within the individual. And so, like, there's really no wrong or right way to decide who or why you vote for anybody in particular.
I think I don't know if it would lead into any of that, but I think on some level, most people have, at least, even if they don't want to admit it, most people have like a little bit of a prejudice with the not from California thing. So I think it's like what's relatable to a said person. So if someone's relates in some way with like the family or whatever, they're more likely to kind of go into that. So that's why some people may not want to vote for certain things, such as, oh, hey, someone's like a crackhead or something, or it was in the past. We're not going to vote for that because that seems to most people dangerous.
Yeah.
So people don't want to lead into something that they feel can ruin their like life as like, oh, we're going to go start a bunch of wars because this guy wants to do that. Then no one really wants that. I feel.
Actually, if that were the case, like with that aspect of, not voting for people who have, had a controversial past like that, then think about this. Why did they elect Donald Trump? If you think about it, ethically speaking, he went bankrupt. He filed for bankruptcy how many times before, he actually ran for president and all that? Because he was obviously a businessman beforehand.
Oh, yeah.
That said, there's been a lot of controversial things about his life from the past, and bringing that into light obviously makes the news, makes headlines, all that crap. But it should have just been basic information from the start. Why was it really only brought into why was there only light shed on it whenever he was, running for president and obviously in office as president? And,
Lawyers.
Another thing is there were a lot of votes for this guy, right? And ethically speaking, everyone kind of immediately said the same thing. They jumped to the whole prejudice thing. And it's like, we live in a very diverse country. We do. And there are ultimately a lot of Black, Latino, whatever. I guess what I'm saying is that there's a lot of voters that fall outside of the lines of straight white male. And everybody immediately jumped to, oh, that guy got into office because the only people voting are straight white males. But we live in such a diverse country. And insofar as religion and politics, I believe they fall into the same lines. Ultimately speaking, religion is connected with politics in such a way to the point that you can look at someone who is a Democrat or Republican and immediately know that they're religious based on some of the things that they're pushing for with their presidency or,
Because we do have
campaign.
a Catholic president. Like Joe Biden is Catholic.
I'm aware.
Yeah. So it's like, hey, I genuinely don't think. Like it's just it's just weird because I hear so much it's like,
Don't.
oh well, you can't allow your religion to influence your politics and stuff. It's like look, like to a lot of people their religion is just that is a non-negotiable, and their religion is influencing the way that they act and move in the world. Like it's influencing the very moral systems that people adhere to. So it's like politics is downstream. Obviously, it's downstream from culture, but it's also downstream from morality as well. It's like why would you make something illegal or legal? Those things have to do or is tangential to morality, but people's morality is influenced by their religion. It's like you're making it really difficult for people to even engage in politics, like seriously engage in politics, if you're going to tell people that their religion should stay out of it, Yeah. And this is the same thing like Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro is obviously he's a religious Jew. But he'll tell you straight up, yeah, I do have things that are informed by my religion, but I will argue purely from a secular philosophy. So he'll say like, hey, the reason why he's against like gay marriage is because the state is incentivized to perpetuate the next generation in order for it to have a tax base. Because if you don't have a tax base and you don't have a next generation, the state is going to die. So that's effectively the only reason why the state would even remotely be involved in marriage in and of itself. But when you talk about gay marriage, what incentive does it give? Like literally, what incentive does it give to the state to acknowledge it? So it's like, sure, you're not arguing from the Bible, from the Hebrew Bible when you say that, but at the same time, it's like, I just fundamentally disagree with the idea that like your religion cannot, under any circumstances, influence the way that you vote and the way that you look at certain politicians.
Well, here's my thing about that. And this is what kind of bothers me. Ultimately speaking, if you're gay, you're gay.
Yeah.
You're obviously not going to just turn straight because you can't get married. So I find it kind of redundant in that sense that they use that to influence not legalizing gay marriage. Because at the end of the day, people are not going to change what they're attracted to. And that's fine. That's fine. But ultimately, there are always going to be straight people. Just like there's always going to be gay people. Historically speaking, that's just a fact. I mean, if you look in any history book that's accurate, there were obviously things going on back in ancient Greece and ancient Rome that are a little not safe for work to speak out loud, but obviously you know what I mean.
Yeah.
That said, if that were the case even, ultimately it just makes no sense to not legalize gay marriage. That's a religious thing.
Well, and here's the thing. It's like I kind of agree with that. I agree with the sentiment that the government probably shouldn't incentivize. Shouldn't get on board with certain things that don't incentivize the perpetuation of the next generation. So it's like that argument makes sense to me, but at the same time, that's the only valid reason that I can see why the government would even recognize marriage to begin with. I don't think the government should recognize marriage at all, because I genuinely believe that fundamentally speaking, it's a culturally relevant and religious system that, like, I literally don't see any other reason why I should legitimize the idea that this person and this person just got together and now they're married. Like, what system is there that's encapsulating that makes it legitimate, that makes it legitimate within a context? Religion makes it legitimate. Like, that's the reason why I got married. I had to get married. Like, I didn't care about the paper. Like, when I got married, obviously I got married through the city of Lakeland and everything like that. And the state of Florida recognizes it. But I wasn't finna smash my wife until I got married by a pastor, because that's the thing that really matters to me. I don't care about whether or not the government tells me that, hey, you're good to go, you're married. I don't care about that. I care about whether or not between me, my wife, and the pastor, and then a witness, and God, that is acknowledged for me. I don't care about whether or not the government says, hey, you two are together. Who cares?
It's for tax purposes. Yeah, that's why they do it.
It's literally a contract for them. For me, it's a covenant between me, my wife, and God. Like, that's so much more. Like, that literally keeps me sometimes married. Because it's like, if it's just me and it's just the government and it's between me and my wife and it's just like, hey, it's just a contract. All right, I'll be out of here. Like, but it's between me, God, and my wife. Like, sometimes you just want to leave. You can't, because you not only did you make a commitment to your wife, you also made a commitment to God. So it's like, when you get married, you get like 3 people get married. That's basically what that is. 3 people get married in a religious concept.
I was gonna say, some gay people want to do that anyway. They want to have 3 people get married. Anyway.
That's true. But here's the thing is, it's like,
yeah, no, I know.
What, like I said before, I don't care that like gay marriage is legalized. It's like cool with me.
They can do what they want.
I'm actually excited about that idea because, okay, say 2 lesbians decided to get married, and then all of a sudden they get divorced, they adopted a kid and everything. Who gets paid alimony and gets the child support checks and half of the other spouse's belongings? That's what I want to know.
I mean, that's where it would be confusing for gay men too. Because could you imagine that? Could you imagine a man paying another man alimony?
That would be an interesting discussion. And what would they be called? Bitter baby daddy?
I mean, would they just call it the Roger and Ebert law?
I don't know. They both have to pay a little bit.
Bitter baby queen.
Oh man.
At that point, they would just pay.
No, we're joking around a little too much. But
yeah, let's go. Yeah, go. Sorry.
I can backtracking to earlier. I can clearly see why Otto over here is an atheist, because God had no hand in the creation of whatever that thing is.
Yeah, I agree. I'm like 2 seconds away from being an atheist right now, at least. Let's transition over into
join the dark side.
Let's join the dark side. Let's talk about the LGBTQ perspective, Otto. What do you want to say? Like, let's not get canceled, but like, what do you want to say about that?
Don't believe in getting canceled.
Oh God!
I could.
Here comes the controversy right here already.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, I mean, I got a leg up on y'all because I'm black. So it's like y'all are straight white men. Y'all are.
Well,
yeah.
I don't know about straight.
One of us here.
I was gonna say that. Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know about
I
straight.
forgot.
Did you just casually?
Alistair.
We are
And you
officially
got-
canceled.
He's
that's
bi.
it, guys. That's the end of the video.
I forgot he's bisexual. I forgot about that. Well, you're casually straight, I guess, huh? Like you date more women than men.
Actually, no.
No?
No, it's about equal, really.
Oh.
It's about equal. I find attraction to both equally.
No, I mean like when you date though.
Oh, dating wise?
You date more women. And you date more black women. I just want to point that out. Like he's not racist. He dates a lot of black women. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Hey, listen.
Girlfriend's literally
Listen.
Tina.
Oh, your girlfriend's Latino?
Yeah.
What's up, man?
I told you that last time.
Yeah, you did. Represent. Yeah. What's up?
Listen. I have no color filter when it comes to the eyes, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
So in my case, at least, I don't care what's going on up here, down here, or out here,
You better not say the heart because I'm gonna call you gay.
or in here. I'm kidding.
Jesus.
No, I actually really do care about what's going on in here because if they don't like love me with their full heart,
Yeah.
what's the point?
Makes sense. Yeah.
Like, why am I going to waste my time?
That's true. Yeah, for sure. Hey, look, by the way, I've been married for 7 years now, guys. If you guys need anything in regards to relationships, come to Big Daddy. Got you.
We got Dr. Love.
Anywho, let's talk about the LGBTQ plus perspective. Go ahead, Otto. What do you want to say about that?
Well, it's more of a double-edged sword when it comes to that type of thing. I do agree that they should be recognized, and I do believe that they should have rights just as anybody else does.
Okay, define rights, because that's very ambiguous. Like
Well-
let's just say in Canada. In Canada right now, it's illegal to use pronouns for which somebody doesn't necessarily want to be called. Do you like that's a right? That's a right over there. Like, what do you mean by rights?
As far as rights and everything is concerned, I believe they should be able to live as freely and as peacefully just as any other human being. And when I say peacefully, piggybacking off of what you just said when it comes to the whole illegalization of misgendering someone, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have to be afraid of losing my job working at a cash register and saying, "Have a good day, sir," to somebody who looks like a burly biker man, tatted and everything, and he loses his shit because I called him sir and he identifies as a woman.
Okay, so listen. All right, so here's the thing. All right, so look, there's this YouTuber named Blair White. She is trans. She was a man, so she's a trans woman, right? If you don't know any context beforehand, and you see her in person or even on camera, she's actually a good-looking girl. You would never know that she has a snake. You never know. You would never know unless she said it.
That third leg.
So here's my question.
No, hold on.
Like, okay, but here's my question.
You could have just said appendage.
I want to say snake. Yeah, I'm gonna go with snake. I don't want to say appendage.
The Cyclops.
But here's the thing though. If I was in, like, let's just say we went out to eat, I would absolutely refer to Blair as a she, knowing full well that she's biologically male. I don't know why. Like, maybe it's just like some psychological thing. Like, if you look like a girl and you present as a woman, and like I can't really tell, you're a woman. Like,
Well,
you're
yeah.
a woman to me.
Well, yeah.
Not biologically speaking, but like at least for all intents and purposes in that situation, you're a woman to me.
Yeah, I mean, you look the part and you play the part. But my thing is, okay, there are some people that dress like that are they're gay and they prefer their natural born pronouns.
Yeah.
So I don't think that when it comes down to the whole gendering aspect of things, if there's at least a disclaimer at first, hey, that's fair. You respected my boundaries. I can easily respect your boundaries. You know.
Otto. So I'm so glad that you're not actually on camera because I'm going to get you canceled right now. So let's just say there's a woman, a trans woman. I don't even know what you're going to say, but I'm pretty sure you're not going to say what I think you're going to say. So let's try to get you canceled right now. So you're in a restaurant with a trans woman, and she presents as trans, like she presents as a woman, like you would never know. And somebody asks you, "Hey, who is this?" And you had to use pronouns. But you know for a fact that she's trans. Would you use male pronouns or would you use female pronouns?
Well, if I had no context or history.
No, you know for a fact that she's biologically male. She just presents as a woman. Like you can never tell. She got implants and everything. But the only thing is that you know that she is a trans woman. Would you use male or female pronouns?
Well, if she's a trans woman and identifies as a woman, then yeah. I would use female pronouns.
Okay, just make sure. No, sorry guys, no cancellations today. Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Oh,
same question.
And by the way, first of all, smash, and secondly,
Look, like sometimes I see trans women and I'm like, whoo, it's that only thing there that's like it's blocking me. You know,
I will say one of
like
admittedly one of my former partners is a transgender man.
okay. Wait, what do you mean?
I mean, biologically, he started out as a woman.
Oh, okay. Just make sure. Okay.
Now that said, he obviously uses he him pronouns. I'm going to refer to him as he him.
Yeah.
It's the same with just about anyone else. If you iterate to me that you want to be referred to as he him, she her, they them, ultimately speaking, that's what I'm going to refer to you as out of not only respect, but just because you went out of your way to tell me these things. Now,
But you don't actually believe that they're a woman, like that they're like male or female.
I believe people can be whatever they want to be, whatever they
like,
feel they are.
I mean, like biologically speaking, because like even in that.
On a biological level, no.
Okay, because like I would literally say, "Hey Blair, I use female. I use female pronouns when I address you, but you're biologically male."
On a biological level, I am male, correct?
Yes.
Now, that said, if I were in a medical situation where, say, for instance, it was required for me to have to go to the hospital, say that, I'm trans, I'm biologically male, but I'm presenting myself as a female, and there's a situation where I have an issue and they need to know about what that issue is, they need to know, what my gender is. I don't think they're per se asking for my gender. They're asking for my sex.
Yes.
Now that's
So you believe that there's a difference between gender and
yes.
sex?
There is a difference between gender and sex in my eyes.
Okay. What do you think, Caleb? Where you at, man?
Sorry.
I want to get you involved here, man.
No, I was just gonna say. So for me, and I actually, because when I was reading this, I kind of said something about it, where it's like if I'm a cashier and I say something, as long as the person doesn't blow up on me, because especially if they live in the area, they're going to be there a few times a day. They say, "Hey, in the future, can you refer to me as whatever?"
And then you would.
I would,
Yeah.
but I think it's again on how he said a level of respect, where it's like if you're respectful with me and how you go about telling me whatever, I can do that. I in general prefer to call people by their names, anyways, because that is just a habit. It's never been because of anything. I've never had a specific way of how I in general grew up in a way and was taught in a way to not really see people as specifically what they are, but as people.
Okay.
And so that's how I prefer to go about my life. Yes, sometimes maybe I make a joke about something or whatever. Everyone kind of and people do it. I think humor is a good thing to be able to have in life, because otherwise I feel like you could be miserable. But in general, I think if they're respectful enough to tell me and want me to do it, and they're not just blowing up in my face, I'm more willing to be like, yeah, that's fine. Because I can believe what I want to believe, have my own opinion about it, but at the end of the day, I'll be respectful towards the person because I think that matters a lot.
Okay.
Respect just matters a lot to me, and treating people is a good thing. Yes, some people do. I mean, depends on what you do, how bad it is. We're not gonna go into that, but
the question. Okay,
general.
I just asked Alistair this question as well, but you don't actually believe that person is the sex to which. Well, obviously. Because Alistair has already made the distinction between gender and sex. I'm not sure if I necessarily agree with it, but let's just take that.
If I in my mind, I would probably see them as what they were born as, but I'm not gonna I'm not gonna force that opinion down their throat. It'd be in my head maybe, but
Okay.
At the end of the day, I talk to anyone that talks to me.
See, I genuinely think like.
People can be.
That's not controversial. Like that seems like a middle ground that is perfectly reasonable to me.
Yeah, people shouldn't be forced to see certain things the way they do. It's the same thing within religion and everything. Otherwise, then we're just bringing in like a cult or whatever.
Religion is a cult. We were talking about this. I just want to let everybody know that religion is absolutely a cult, and people don't like it when I say that, but I'm a part of a cult. I just want everybody to know that.
And I mean that's fine. If you want to believe what you want to believe in, I think that's perfectly fine.
Accountability.
I kind of thought this within the school thing too. I guess this is like just a whole circle.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think if someone believes something that shouldn't be frowned upon, like if you want to be gay, go to school, have your pride flag up. Don't be upset if someone else wants to have an American flag up. Don't be, people should be allowed to express themselves, but they shouldn't shove it down everyone's throat. I think that's like a specific way of thinking about it, where it's be respectful of what people want to have, what they are, but do not shove it down their throat. If people are open to listening in, I think that I always like to I don't mind listening to other people's religions or whatever. I like listening because that's like a good way to learn. Learning is overall a good thing.
What is your religion? You have a religion?
Yes and no. I know that's I think we talked about this before. It's very specific because I was born into a Christian family and I was raised in that. I still kind of have I have belief of a God, but I don't know where I fall in line yet. Okay. How I have to see. I like to.
You're theist. You're a theist, but you're like agnostic in terms of religion.
Maybe.
Okay.
I don't know how to give you a specific answer to that. Sorry, but
no, it makes sense. You don't know what.
I still have my dad's Bible that he gave me when I was younger. Within Christianity, I'm leaning more towards kind of getting into it again, just because having something sometimes there's a reason for things. I'm not going to say just everything's a coincidence. Things happen for a reason, and so it's when something good happens. Sometimes you want to have something to thank, and some people say thank God, and it's even if they're just using it as just use the expression, but on some level, it feels like sometimes things happen because there's because something's there's problem.
And
it's I feel like if you're living in general good a good life, if you're doing that, you could be thankful to something. I mean, you could be thankful to yourself, but having something there that feels oh hey, I'm here because of this thing is could makes you feel better. I don't know. It can make you happy. I don't know. I mean, everyone has their own thing. They can believe what they want to believe. I'm not going to hate them for whatever they want to do. I'd assume they wouldn't hate me. They probably don't want me going and preaching to them, and I'm not going to. They don't want me to,
Yeah, it makes sense.
That's just, I think, how people should live their life. People shouldn't have to be trying to force things. If people want to listen, feel free to listen, but don't also, if you're going to say how you feel about something, you have to be open about what
everybody else.
You have to be open about the both sides.
Yeah.
I will say that if someone was preaching to me straight out the gate, depending on what they're saying is how I'll take it. I've had plenty of people, because I like to go out, whatnot, and there's one place I really like to go. It's the flea market. There's always this older gentleman. He's always handing out these little flyers for his church and whatnot, and sometimes he'll preach to me and whatnot, and it doesn't bother me none because it could be very obvious that I'm a little controversial on the religious part. I mean, I have a pentagram on the back of my jacket, and I don't really like to discuss my beliefs because they don't really fall in line with traditional Christian or satanic or any of those kinds of beliefs. And that said, that older gentleman has come up and preached to me, not in an insulting way, but more of an endearing way. Mm-hmm. And I can be totally behind that. If someone is preaching their religion and using it to, I guess, more or less bless or more or less embrace who you are as a person instead of trying to use it to belittle you, because I've seen that a lot. Yeah. Then I can be fully behind that. Also, I love the fact that we just woke up and chose politics.
Yeah, we did. We just
we really
we
did.
did this. That's how it's supposed to
I
go.
was going to say too something kind of like you said within that. I think in general, God was meant to be about love. That's why the one thing I kind of fell out of most Christian, because the church I was in, a lot of that was like, I ended up actually walking out of the building
I'm sorry. What denomination were you? I know Otto was Catholic. He grew up Catholic.
I just know Christian. There was like nothing specific about
like
anything. It was just Christianity.
Non-denominational.
God, follow Jesus.
Okay.
That was God, Jesus, same person. That was the same idea.
Same person?
Or no, same thing as a whole.
Oh, okay.
God is Jesus. Jesus is God. It's
The Holy Trinity.
yeah. Holy Spirit.
The Father, the Son,
That
the
sounded
Holy
more like
Spirit.
modalism. I mean, I don't want to get into the theology part of it.
Yeah, but that's
like,
kind of. I never got like a specific what it was. That's how I was always.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, no, let's not talk theology. I will fall right asleep.
Anyways, one of the pastors was actually talking about, and this was when I was a teenager. He was talking about how when you choose, you're choosing to be gay, and that is you're being like you're intentionally going against God because you're choosing to be gay. And I walked out because I don't believe that. I believe people were born in certain ways, and like everyone's born different. You're born in God's image. That's the idea.
Ooh. Hey, this is great. All right, so listen. This is great.
You want me to stop?
No. This is great because we were actually talking about this. This actually has to do with the first one, full circle. It has to do with the first one about exploring generational trauma. So specifically, like obviously, I believe that the vast majority of people who have a homosexual orientation are homosexual, and they probably are born homosexual by nature. However, I do believe that it's possible that some people have a non-cis sexual orientation for traumatic reasons. Like there's been trauma that has occurred in their life, and that trauma is effectively influencing the way in which their sexual orientation is manifesting. You know,
I think that's true in some ways. I mean, some women like had some like maybe abusive relationship with a man, and so they chose to be with a woman because I mean, some people I feel in general you can see attractiveness. Attractiveness is
attractiveness.
Yeah, sorry, I need a drink.
Don't have a stroke.
Go ahead.
Cut that out.
I need some water.
I have to say, block that one out.
Where's my water?
Hey, we got a bloopers reel.
Yeah.
Hey,
Attractiveness is, everyone has their own like opinion of that, like depending on where it is. Some people view like super muscular, whatever guys, or not so, thinner, skater boy, whatever, depending on what you're into, right? Everyone has that like own.
just calling me out, aren't you?
Yeah.
Just
Everyone has
putting
their own.
me on blast, aren't you?
Saying the fact that you're not cis.
You're the only one here that can like. Talk
You're not
about being
straight.
attracted to guys.
So like, would you like really think about it and just be honest? Like maybe it's just happened. Like that's just how you were born. Like, do you think that there's any kind of
correlation,
traumatic experiences that has effectively influenced the way in which your sexuality has manifested in your later life?
Okay, so I will be very upfront when I say this. I kind of understood whenever I was, little, like, 6, 7 years old, that I was a little bit different in that regard, because I grew up with, obviously, straight parents, straight sister, whatever, right? Now, that said, I immediately knew when I was a little kid that I was a little bit different, because I really didn't see any kind of differences in the way that I guess sort of felt about people. Now, do I think that there was any trauma in my case that correlated to that? No, not in my case. I just I more or less kind of figured out along the way. I was just like, yeah, people are people. It really didn't matter to me what was going on down there. It was more or less of what's going on up here and really in here. If, say for instance, I met someone who actually surprised me with making me laugh or whatnot, do I care about what's going on down there? No. Do I care about what's going on in here? Yes. Because if you make me laugh, you got a really dark sense of humor, first of all. Yeah. And secondly,
It's pretty dark. I've heard stuff. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh yeah,
We've all heard some stuff from James.
my humor is extremely dark. Now that said, in my case, I don't think there's any correlation between any kind of past trauma that would, make me gay or whatever. Yeah. But in some other people's cases, I would think so. Yeah, there would be some correlation for certain people. Like I definitely know certain folks that are, they have some trauma with their past and whatnot, getting assaulted, things of that nature, who have turned out, well, gay.
Or even trans. Like, I genuinely believe that, like, there's a lot of trans people that are out there who have, like, dealt with, like, maybe even sexual, psychological, physical abuse. And one of the ways in which they cope with the fact that they just had, like, a really messed up childhood is disassociating themselves from their biological identity. And so they start to effectively I guess see themselves as something other than what they are. And so I think that's not everybody. I do believe like trans people are probably like, there probably are genuine trans people who are just psychologically predisposed to believe in themselves to be the opposite sex or the opposite gender, whichever you want to call it. But I genuinely believe like there are people out there that are trans right now who are trans to some degree predicated on certain traumatic experiences in their upbringing.
Within that, on both you guys, again, as far as you know, with trauma stuff, no offense, because there could have been something that you just don't remember. I'm just saying.
Yes, because a lot of trauma
people can
is
forget it.
Like people forget trauma for sure.
But what I was gonna say was it could also just because of upbringing, because I mean like lack of a father figure in your life, lack of like a masculine father figure could lead to like your if you end up open to that, and you can end up kind of copying off if you're growing up with like a lot of sisters that, and as a boy, if you don't have like a masculine figure in your life, you can't fully grow up into that because you don't have that kind of figure. If you're just showed off as all the same stuff with female, like especially sometimes they could be told like with parents how nowadays they want to have their kids like make them a female as a kid and put puberty blockers and stuff like that, and I think that is not okay. I think a lot of that stuff should be waited until
they're 18
so they can choose if they want to do it at the very least. Like drinking, smoking, you have to be an adult for that stuff. That should be a choice that them as an adult should have to make, not the parents.
Yeah.
I mean, some people in general, they want to do like that. So they say, oh, it's because they put on a birth certificate. Well, you shouldn't, like, you can get that forced down your mind, and then you're raised into that kind of setting where you're believing that just is your truth because you were raised into that manner. So that is, it can be sense in a traumatic way, even if you don't realize it. So that is a possibility because you were raised a certain way. That's like, I mean, and I'm not going to say for everyone, but just the group of friends, I seem to be the one with the most likelihood of having a good father figure in my life. No offense to anybody, but because I mean,
none taken.
Yes, because I know like some people didn't have that, and my father wasn't in my life as a kid because he was working a lot, because he was working for 5 of us in California. Like he did his best, and when he retired and he was home more, he was there much more in my life, and it felt more. I had that there before. I didn't fully have it, so I kind of always leached on to, I guess, certain like people within church that were like felt to me what it feels like to be a proper male figure. Like and that's kind of how I grew up with how I want to treat people within respect and all that is because of how I grew up and how I was taught. So I think depending on how you were raised is how you're going to view things as well. Right. So yes, people will change as they get older, but I think for some young people at least, they could have just been raised that way and that never clicked in their mind that they wanted to be anything else yet. So that's like a risk,
Well, with that said, my father, he's been in and out of my life for a number of years now because he's got his own personal demons, stuff I won't bring up on camera. But that said, whenever I was a lot younger, and I mean, not like a lot younger, but like when I was like a little kid, he was definitely around. And whenever I was a lot younger, my dad was very like open-hearted, open-minded. He was like very, very, very cool to be around. Now that said, those were my kind of, I guess, developmental years. So I figure that's more or less where it counts. Now that said, ultimately, whenever I was, 6, 7, 8 years old, my dad was still around. I had a father figure in my life at that point, but I still knew that I was relatively different in the regards of what I'm attracted to. That's not really something that I can say that my parents influenced, because whenever I came out to my mother, she just kind of looked at me and was just like, but why? Right? Like, because she didn't quite understand it, and I explained it to her. I just told her, like, it's not really about what's going on down there. As I said earlier, it's about what's going on up here and in here. And she definitely understood that, but I think the weirder question she had for me was, how that worked behind closed doors, because she had no idea.
No, I was going to make a joke about this, but I was going to say on top of that was also when I say a lot of the stuff I'm saying, I'm also generalizing, because there's also always specific cases.
Oh yeah, she was wondering who was on top of who.
That's fair. No, I was going to say in general, there's also always specific cases about a lot of this stuff. Like some people like just were born that way or whatever. Like it's not always because of like traumatic or whatever. But I think when I speak a lot of this, I'm saying I'm like generalizing because there could be specific cases for things.
That's true.
So there's always a specific case. Like it's the same thing where, and this was like I guess I at least on this thing how it has like with the feminism and stuff like that. It within men and women are biologically different, and things like men will generally be better at like physical sports, stuff like that. But there is going to be a case where there is going to be a woman that is like She-Hulk that can pick up James and throw him like a tennis ball.
Yeah, there's a difference between,
I know. I feel like that.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, there could be general speaking of like what is strong. There are going to be people who are stronger, but I feel like on a level of people who train the same amount of years, the man will be stronger because they train the same amount of years, because that is how the biological is, That's what I was saying. I was just saying like a lot of things that I say are like more on a general base, because I know there's always going to be a special case for somebody of maybe they feel like this wasn't the reason, and if they feel like that because of what I say, then you could be a specific case, and that's okay. Like again, we're all created differently. That's the idea.
Yeah. Hey, JR, how much time we got, man?
We're at 57.
All right, so we got 3 minutes.
All right, we got 3 minutes. Then
Hour and 4.
Okay.
For hour and 5.
All right, 10-4.
Nothing super strict, but.
Okay.
All right, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. So
hold on. Can I say something?
Yeah. Okay.
First of all, I just want to put on the record that I'm 6 foot tall and I'm only about 120 pounds. But if I did find a woman who could just like pick me up and just chuck me across the room, you best believe I'm putting a ring on it.
Like that's the thing.
It's gonna be an Olympic event.
Like I think what we're learning about Alistair is that he's like literally not the average man. Not at all.
Definitely not a man.
If my wife could pick me up and throw me, nah.
You best believe if she could pick me up and throw me like she's Hulk Hogan in the 80s, you best believe I'm putting a ring on it. All right, I need you to understand.
Hey,
I'm a lover, not a
I
fighter.
I don't really have anything to gripe about that.
Hey, listen, if we're going out to dinner and my mashed potatoes don't got the garlic on it, I ain't saying shit.
You need her to say something. Okay.
She's saying it, not me. Like, you best believe I'm not putting myself in that situation.
All right, that makes sense. Let's close. Let's go to a close. It was actually pretty good. I like it. It was pretty good. We should probably do this another time as well.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm down. I'm
yeah,
down.
I enjoyed you guys being here.
This was enjoyable.
Yeah.
Very much so. I love you, Otto. You're great.
Thank you.
All right, smoke
Am
one
I
more.
good to pet you?
Smoke one more time for us. No, it's fine. No, you don't have to do it. It's gonna take too long.
Hey, Ari, would you like to close us in prayer?
No, I'm a Christian, but I ain't that Christian. Before we close, like I said, this is the Fell Kingdoms podcast. You can go ahead and check us out on YouTube at Fell Kingdoms. Another thing I wanted to point out is I was recently in a documentary called "The Transcendent Remarkable: The Image of God in Humanity." It was released on the Love Unrelenting YouTube channel. It's sitting at 781 views right now. Let's get those numbers up, those rookie numbers. But because I know my audience, so some people that are featured in it is Dr. Joshua Rasmussen. He's a Christian philosopher. Thomas J. Ord as well. Keith Giles, I know a lot of people know him. Thomas Talbot, he's also a philosopher. He was actually the one that convinced me of Christian universalism through his book. David Bentley Hart, he's one of my philosophical heroes. I love him. George Saras, who has the most buttery smooth voice that you will ever, and I mean ever hear.
Does he got like the Morgan Freeman voice? That
Look, I will show you. I will show you. I will play you his voice whenever we get out of here. Buttery smooth. Like I almost want to just
butter.
Someone got a man crush over there.
I do, and
Oh,
also,
look at that! I'm not the only fruitcake in the room.
hey, I'm a fruitcake for his voice for sure. Jordan Daniel Wood is also in it, and Brian Zahn, who's a big mega church pastor, he's in it as well. He did really good. Paul Young is also in it. I don't know if you guys ever seen the Shaq movie with the guy from. Oh, come on, help me out. The guy from Avatar. He plays. You don't know who I'm talking about. He's in the movie, so he wrote the book that got into a movie, so he's in it as well.
All right, I hate to tell you this, but no, I don't think any of us here have seen the Shaq movie.
I know. But anyway, you know the guy. You've seen Avatar at least, right? You've seen
Which
Avatar?
Avatar are we talking about?
Well, either one.
Smurfs or the monkey hero
Smurfs.
in
The
it?
Smurfs.
Okay, are you talking about the
The
fellow in the
main
wheelchair or
The
like?
main character. Yeah, the
Yeah.
one in the chair. He's in that. He wrote the book, the guy I was just talking about.
That second movie was garbage, by the way. I watched it.
It was literally just.
It was garbage. I didn't like
It
it.
was the first movie just
They-
with a reskin.
Yeah, they just took it and they were just like add water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But and also Bradley Jerzak, he's in it as well. I have an interview with him on my YouTube channel. It's currently sitting at 4,500 views, which is pretty good.
No disrespect to the Navi.
Yeah. But again, it's called Transcendent Remarkable: The Image of God and Humanity. It's on the Love Unrelenting YouTube channel. If you guys want to check it out, just want to do a shameless plug. But I'm Ari. I'm the host of the Fell Kingdoms podcast. I'm with Caleb, Alistair, and Otto. We'll see you later, guys. Appreciate you.